Hey everybody, it's Jolly and welcome back to my channel. And I am here with the next installment of my makes for my 100-day project, which as a reminder is that I am making twin mixed media Twinchies, which are 2-inch by 2-inch squares, and I'm making 100 of them. And this is a recap of week 5, so which is kind of wild that we're already more than a third of the way through. So yeah, and I know last week I said sort of a very mixed bag, and but this week, honestly, I don't know if I hit my stride or it was just less stress at work or whatever, but uh, this week I pretty much love everything I made, which is exciting. Some things more than others, but yeah, just super happy with how things turned out. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, day 29, which was last Sunday, March 22nd, the prompt that I randomly pulled was tintype. And here's where I ended up with it, which I'm glad I get to show this on video, because I think it comes across a lot better than in a static picture. But yeah, so this was kind of an interesting process to take an actual tintype, which I just picked this one, which was the most recent tintype that I obtained, um, and turn it into a fake tintype. But yeah, so I scanned the tintype, I cropped it down to a 2-inch square, and then I printed that out actually on clear sticker paper, which is something that I never really used before. So basically made a sticker out of that. And then for the background, I actually covered the cardstock square with metal tape. So it's like a silver metal tape so that it would be metallic. And then yeah, just put the sticker over top of that, and then intentionally sort of scuffed up the image a bit just so you can kind of see that there's real metal under there. And it actually, for being very much a faux tintype, I think it looks pretty real. And so yeah, I just used the word poised from a vintage book, and that's my faux tintype. So again, day 29, tintype. And then day 30, which was March 23rd, the prompt was moon. And here's what I ended up with, which I love. And again, I really love how this came out, and it was so fast. So basically, this uh, charm is one that I already had made a while ago when I was really into making these air dry clay charms. And it is a moon face stamp uh, from Dina Wakley. It's a stamp set that I am absolutely obsessed with and I use a lot. And yeah, and so basically it's just air dry clay, cut it with a circle shape, and then put a hole in it. And it's just been sitting in my stash. And so basically, to use it for this project, I did a wash of I think it was like a yellow acrylic ink that I mixed with a burnt umber acrylic ink to make sort of a dusty or darker yellow. Did a wash of that, and then went over it with the Inca Gold Old Silver is the color of this one. And so I thought that combo of like the dark yellow and then the old gold or the old silver on top of it gave it a really great look. And this one I had put the hole in, so I figured I would hang it. Um, and so I basically put an eyelet and just, this is actually, so I didn't have any super thin um, kind of black cord. So this is actually just like the white string from a tea bag. And I actually just took a black acrylic marker and made it black. So, and then hung it there. And then the background is actually just, it's from a piece of origami paper that was already sort of galaxy themed. So, um, some of these splats are already on there. But then some of them I went ahead and splattered with my silver Winsor and Newton ink. So just to give it a extra stars, and that some of them actually do shine. And then I found this word from my snips from vintage books, though the night be dark, and I just backed that on. This is like a glossy cardstock. This is actually I get factor meals, which are like, heat and eat meals, which is what I have for dinner most nights of the week. Um, and they're like a black shiny cardstock. And so I just save a few of the sleeves and use it to back things like this and use it in projects. So yeah, so this is the moon. It moves. I really went back and forth on whether or not to, anchor it in place. And I might still do that at some point, but I do love how it hangs and how it swings. And so this is day 30, the moon. There we go. And then this one's a real wild card of the week, but I love it. And so day 31, the prompt is orange, and this was for March 24th. And this is where I ended up with this one. So this is definitely sort of the heaviest and most dimensional piece I've made so far. So starting with the background, so I used last year as part of the full deck challenge. Um, I made happy scraps, and I made multicolored happy scraps the first time, and then because it was autumn, I went ahead and made these sort of orange happy scraps with some turquoise in them. And I went on and made master boards and leaves and pumpkins and stuff out of them. And I had a bag of sort of leftover little scraps, which were the perfect size. So I used just like 5 different scraps to create a background. And then I went back and forth on what I wanted to do for a focal point, and I've had in my stash for a long time a set of these in different colors. They're, vintage valves, and yeah, and so I went back and forth on what I want to use focal point, and they've just been sitting in my stash, and I haven't been using them. And they're this very cool color, with real rust, real aging, and I love how the sort of corrosion on the orange sort of matches with the sort of turquoise spots on the background. So I said, you know what, let's just go for it. And so I glued it on using E6000. And then I thought it kind of, the shape almost kind of looks like a flower. And so there's a hole in the center, and I decided to fill the hole in the center, or cover the hole in the center, with one of the little cabochons that I make. So this one, for instance, I used the packaging from the Tim Holtz wallpaper pack. And this one, obviously, not going to focus, but has an orange and black harlequin pattern on it. And so I just put a jump ring on it, and then filled it with glossy accents. And so I just glued that on as well. And then for the word, I just found the word warmth, which I thought was fun because I wasn't sure what I was going to use as a word on this. And I like, because obviously orange is a warm color, but then also this valve made me think of, you know, hot steam and, heating and stuff like that. So I thought that was a kind of a neat little touch. So yes, again, definitely the heaviest and most dimensional piece I've made so far, but I'm really happy with. And that's day 31, which was orange. Then the next day, day 32, which is March 25th, the prompt was winter. And this is what I ended up making. So this is just scrapbook paper that I have in my stash that's very wintry looking. And so I covered the background with it, and then I made a little frame with it as well, and splattered that again with the silver Winsor & Newton ink. And then for the background, that's a scan of, it's a cabinet card of this gentleman is got a full giant fur coat in this cabinet card and whatnot. So I used him, and then I found in my stash the words "We might have a sleigh ride," and put that on the background. And then so basically, I just prop this up using foam squares or foam tape, and then I put a little bit of this. I don't even know where I got it or why I got it, but um, it's it looks very much like snow. This sort of glitter fill. Not really sure what you would call it, but added some of that in, and then put some acetate on the little frame and made a little snowy shaker card with our very wrapped up gentleman. And again, really like how this one came out as well. And so that was day 32, and the prompt was winter. Day 33, another one that I really enjoyed. The prompt was lips, and it was for March 26th. And this is what I came up with. So, yeah, the background is, so this is a piece of uh, vintage French book page that I covered the background with. And then I did a technique that I don't often do. So I have like 4 embossing powders and I never use them. And so, but I had this idea of, so I have a stamp that has lips on it. And so I just used that and used a VersaFine Clair red ink and stamped all over the background to create a pattern. And then I actually went over it with a clear embossing powder, which is sort of the thing that I don't usually do, and embossed it. And I love that because it really made the red pop. Excuse me. Um, and I really like the shine. So, sort of like, glossy lip gloss lips in the background. And then the focal point, I have this cabinet card with this woman who I absolutely love, has the wildest hairdo that I think I've seen in a cabinet card, but I love. And I knew I had these words in my stash. She woke the princess with a kiss. And so I used a stamp, one of the Jane Davenport, they're sort of women's heads stamps, which I used the hair from one in the wig prompt. And so for this, I just sort of masked off the rest of the stamp and just did the lips and used the same red ink and gave her a little lipstick print on her cheek. And yeah, and I love this. I love the little, this one feels like a really tiny story. I do kind of wish I'd propped up at least the woman from the background, which is something I've been doing more and more of. But still, absolutely love how this came out. Love this background. I feel like I'm gonna have to use it for something else. But yeah, so day 33, the prompt was lips. Day 34, the prompt was postage stamps, and it was March 27th. And this is again another one that I absolutely love how it came out. I wasn't sure where it was going or how to make it interesting, and I absolutely love how it came out. So the background are real vintage postage stamps, and I got to give a lot of credit here to Crafty Lisa Vintage on Instagram. These stamps are, I have a lot of different vintage stamps, but this came from a pack that I got from her that was sort of from a Valentine's slash, or I'm sorry, St. Patrick's Day slash spring sale. And so it was a pack of a bunch of stamps, and they came already color coordinated. So really, I feel like the hardest part, which was sort of making a cohesive colorway with the stamps, Crafty Lisa did it for me. But yeah, so basically, I just collaged the different vintage stamps on the background in these different shades of greens and browns. And then this is the sort of the last uh, of the triptych of this gentleman. So I've used him, two other pictures of him previously. And I really would have loved if he was reading a letter. He's reading some sort of pamphlet, but you get the same idea because I had the idea of a postage stamp, letters. this gentleman reading a letter, and then I used the words, "I wonder where he is now." So I just had this idea of this gentleman reading a letter, an old letter from an old lover or friend, and just sort of thinking, where is he in the world? Because we have stamps from, from India, from France, from Egypt. So yeah, all over the world. And again, and then I splattered them with gold ink. And again, I just love how cohesive the background ended up being with the color scheme. And yeah, so that was day 34, postage stamps. And then the last one, which is the one I made this morning, today, I'm filming this on the 28th. So day 35, cherry blossom. And this was perfect timing. So in DC right now, I live in Washington DC. We're at peak bloom for the cherry blossoms. It's the Cherry Blossom Festival. It's a big thing around here. So this was perfect timing. So the background is a piece of handmade Japanese paper with cherry blossoms on it, and I get this. This is one of the packs I get from Chanel at Bitter Melon Bindery. And I use a lot of these papers in a lot of my projects. And then the focal point version is actually, so this is, I fussy cut this out from a piece of antique French wallpaper that I got from Kate at Ink Paper Art. And I wasn't actually going to do the little like packing tape trick on this, but um, the paper was very crumbly, and then also as I was working with it, the pigment was starting to smear. So I ended up gluing it onto a piece of thin cardstock to make it stronger. And then I did end up doing the tape just to sort of seal more than anything else. But it also, I think, helps it stand out from the background. And, I doubt these flowers are actually cherry blossoms, but they do give that pink vibe and I think stand out enough from the background. And then I use the words like small wildflowers and then inked all around in pink. And so, yeah, so again, that's from today, day 35, and cherry blossom. So, yeah, so like I said, really happy with this week's makes. I feel like I'm hitting sort of a flow or a stride, and, trying to get as creative as possible with the format. Again, using very dimensional things or adding a swinging element or trying something that I'd never done before using totally new materials, or creating like a shaker card. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun still. Like I said, we're a little more than a third of the way through, and I will be back next weekend with what I end up making in the coming week. Thanks again for joining me.